This once high-energy kid is now staring down a sentence that's got everyone seeing past the flashy rap image. Turns out, behind the chains and spotlight, he was running a whole operation that spiraled out of control. What really took him down is darker and messier than anyone expected. And we're about to break it all down. King's legal chaos is just getting started. Now listen up, this ain't just some gossip. This one's shaking the entire hip-hop world. We're talking about King Harris, T.I.'s son, the same kid who grew up surrounded by fame and money, now caught up in drama deeper than anyone thought. He's gone from luxury to legal trouble, and even clashing with his own mom. This ain't no spoiled kid story. This is about pride, pressure, and what happens when fame meets the streets. And trust me, things are getting real out here. Social media's gone crazy with talk about King being locked up for years, getting into fights inside, and wild stories flying everywhere. But we're cutting through all that noise. No rumors, no cap, just the truth behind how everything started to crumble for the young Prince of Atlanta. October 14th, 2024. That date flipped King Harris's whole world upside down. The young star was cruising through Dunwoody, Georgia, probably feeling untouchable, when out of nowhere he almost sideswiped a police cruiser pulling out of a gas station. The cop hit the lights, stopped him for failing to yield, caught a whiff of weed in the air, and spotted a weapon sitting right there on King's hip. Now before anyone starts screaming, "Set up!" let's keep it real. King wasn't wilding out or acting tough. He stayed calm. No backtalk, no fight, just caught lacking.
I'm kind, energetic, nice dude, man. My name King, you know it, and your mama know it. On game what? On game what? Come here.
But here's where it gets hot. Once they ran his name, everything unraveled. Turns out King had a bench warrant sitting in Pickens County from back in 2022. That old case? Speeding, driving on a suspended license, and a DUI off pills. And he never showed up to court. 2 years dodging the system, thinking time would erase the mess. But nah, the streets and the law don't forget. When the cops checked his ride, they said the smell of weed hit hard, found 2 small baggies, and that weapon on his left side. Now anybody from the block knows how fast that kind of stop can go sideways. But King, he kept his composure. Didn't flinch when the officer took the piece off him without drama. They cuffed him up, and that was it. No extra drama, no fake tough act, just real recognized real. King didn't fight, didn't talk slick, just stood there knowing the situation was already bad enough. But this story? It goes way beyond another rich kid catching a case. King's been on a mission to prove he's not just living off his dad's name. He's been trying to earn his stripes for real. He's always talking about standing on business, trying to show he's cut from a different cloth. King's been telling folks he's got deep ties to Atlanta's street culture, saying he spent a lot of time with his grandma in a rough neighborhood just to understand what real life feels like outside the mansions and red carpets. But this is where it all takes a turn. The family drama exploded. While King sat in DeKalb County Jail, waiting to get moved to Pickens County, his mom, Tiny Harris, jumped on live and started speaking her truth. She called her own son out, saying, "He ain't got good sense and that he ain't got all his marbles." That's wild, your own mom calling you out to the world while you're behind bars. And she didn't stop there. Tiny kept it brutally honest but still tried to defend him. She said something that really hit deep. King don't mess with nobody unless they mess with him first. You gotta really push him for him to even react. That's that protective mama vibe right there. But Tiny was also hinting that her son's been making some questionable moves lately. Still, here's the twist. King didn't stay locked up for long. The bench warrant got recalled and boom, he walked free. He even hopped online saying, "I'm a free man. I'm not locked up." Crazy, right? All that noise, all that stress, and he's out the next day. But the damage? Already done. The blogs exploded, the streets started whispering, and King's name took another hit. Now, let's be real. The internet went wild with rumors. People were posting fake headlines saying he got 5 years, got jumped inside, and that T.I was out here begging judges for mercy. All that drama looked good online, but none of it was true. The so-called 5-year sentence was just pure clickbait. No real evidence, no paperwork, nothing legit. The truth? The boy walked free. But this whole situation peeled back something deeper, the kind of pressure King's been living under. He's trapped between two worlds, one built on fame and privilege, and the other built on street respect that he keeps chasing. And man, people been ruthless about it. Critics clown him as some soft wannabe gangster, saying he's making up stories for attention. That cuts deep when you're trying to carve your own lane in rap. Even T.I had to speak out, saying he sees too much of his younger self in King, and he didn't hold back either. He warned that if King keep that up, he's gonna end up in prison, just like the streets been predicting. That's some heavy talk coming from a father who's been through the system himself and knows exactly how that story ends. But there's layers to how T.I handles it. He's walking a tight line between being a loving dad and a man trying to teach his son accountability. At the same time, he's juggling the pressure of the public eye while watching his son repeat moves he made years ago. The difference is, when T.I was wilding out back in the day, there wasn't millions of people online recording every mistake. King doesn't get that luxury. Every slip gets screenshotted, clipped, and turned into headlines. So when T.I warned his son about prison, it wasn't just tough love, it was wisdom from experience. He's seen how fast things can spiral in both the streets and the courtroom, and he knows King's fame can only shield him so far. Keep testing limits, keep getting caught up, and sooner or later, not even family ties or fancy lawyers can save you. The timing made it worse. King was trying to lock in his music career and step up as a father. Around that same time, he was expecting his first child with his partner, Jania Nana Epps, a moment that should have been about growth and stepping up. Instead, he was facing legal drama that drowned out his progress. And that right there reflects a pattern too many young artists fall into, chasing validation while losing sight of what really matters. A lot of young men in hip-hop struggle with that same battle, trying to keep their street credibility alive while stepping into fatherhood and responsibility. But sometimes those two worlds clash hard, and that's exactly what happened with King. What should have been one of the best chapters of his life turned into another cautionary tale about choices gone wrong. This ain't just about arrest papers or mugshots. This is deeper. It's about understanding how a kid born into Atlanta royalty ended up fighting so hard to prove he belonged in the trenches. We're diving into the mindset, the weight of expectations, and the pressure that comes with being born into hip-hop legacy while still trying to figure out your own lane.
Like a lot of people, I feel like you gotta start putting out the good, not that, I feel like you so chill, you don't care about putting out the good.
Let's rewind. King Harris's story starts with fame already stamped on his name. Born August 25th, 2004, Clifford King Joseph Harris III came into this world already surrounded by fame, money, and cameras. From 2011 to 2017, he grew up right in front of the world on VH1's T.I and Tiny, The Family Hustle. Imagine that. While most kids were worried about school, King had cameras in his face, every move documented, every argument clipped for TV. That kind of spotlight can twist your sense of identity. And here's the wild part. Despite all the success, King's been saying he spent time living with his grandma in rough Atlanta neighborhoods, chasing that real-life experience beyond the mansions and designer fits. Some people might call that fake, but let's be real. This young dude was just trying to connect with his roots. He wanted to feel where his pops came from before the fame, the Grammys, and the Hollywood lights ever showed up. It wasn't about pretending, it was about understanding. The rap dream came early for King too. He started spitting bars young, heavily influenced by his dad's legacy. He even came up with the name Kid Saiyan, inspired by Dragon Ball. That's a crazy mix. Anime vibes with Southern trap energy. He dropped songs, built his social media buzz, and kept pushing to prove he wasn't just T.I.'s son. He was his own man in a game that already had expectations waiting for him to either rise or crash because of his last name. Then came the love story that flipped his whole mindset. Enter Jania Nana Epps, a beautiful young woman from Atlanta who had King completely locked in. Their relationship hit the spotlight in mid-2024 after rumors started flying that Epps was pregnant. But this wasn't no clout-chasing type of love. This was real emotion, real loyalty, and something that gave him a reason to focus up. By August 2024, T.I even confirmed it himself on Atlanta's Hot 107.9, proudly announcing that King was about to be a father. Imagine that moment. Your dad on live radio telling the whole city you're expecting a baby. That had to hit different for King, realizing the whole world just got front row seats to one of the biggest moments of his life. Some folks might call it fake, but hold up, King wasn't out here pretending. He was trying to get in touch with his roots, to really understand where his pops came from before the Grammys, fame, and red carpets took over. He wanted to feel that realness, not just the luxury. The music bug bit him early too. King started rapping young, taking heavy influence from his dad's hustle and naming himself Kid Saiyan, inspired by Dragon Ball. That mix of anime energy with Atlanta trap vibes? Crazy combo. He was out here dropping songs, building his name online, and grinding to prove he's not just living off his father's shine. He's got his own wave. But everyone in the game was already watching, waiting to see if he'd live up to the name or crash under it. Then came the chapter that changed everything. Love. King met Jania Nana Epps, a gorgeous young woman from Atlanta who gave him something solid to hold on to. Their relationship went public mid-2024 after rumors broke that Epps was expecting. But this wasn't no publicity stunt or clout move. This was real love, real loyalty, and the kind of responsibility that can flip a young man's focus fast. By August 2024, T.I himself went on Atlanta's Hot 107.9 and confirmed it. His son was about to be a dad. Imagine that moment. Your pop's on live radio telling the city you've got a baby on the way. That had to hit King deep, realizing the whole world just heard his most personal life update straight from his father's mouth. That's the reality of being hip-hop royalty. Your private life becomes the internet's entertainment. King and Jania threw a huge baby shower in October 2024, all blue-themed for their baby boy. And by November that same year, little King Jr. was born. But things didn't stay peaceful for long, because just a few months later, the internet was set on fire again. In January 2025, King went viral on Instagram Live after dropping a bomb about his relationship. He revealed that Jania allows him to see and even be intimate with other women, as long as it stays private and emotion-free. Yeah, you heard that right. King told viewers his girl lets him cheat in peace, as long as it doesn't turn into some public mess or love triangle. The internet went wild. Half of people saying that's mature understanding between grown folks, the other half calling it flat-out disrespectful. But let's be honest, every relationship got its own rules, and if they both cool with it, that's their business. Still, this drama turned King's love life into headline fuel overnight. But life wasn't all romance and baby showers. King's fiery temper kept landing him in mess after mess. One of the biggest blow-ups happened November 26, 2023, during an Atlanta Falcons game. King went live right in the stands, clashing with T.I and Tiny over whether he really grew up privileged or if he came up rough like he always claims. February 2024 brought another messy headline. This time, King found himself beefing with comedian Drusky after the comic poked fun at his catchphrase, "Stand on business." Instead of brushing it off, King jumped on Instagram Live and went off, calling Drusky names and even threatening to fight him. He said, "You fat, out of shape I'll beat the F out of you." It was wild, straight disrespectful and way out of pocket. Now, let's keep it real. Drusky's a comedian. Cracking jokes about viral phrases and famous people is literally what he does. But King took it to heart, reacting with anger instead of humor. And that right there showed a side of insecurity he still hasn't grown out of. For someone trying to build a career in music and entertainment, that kind of outburst can do real damage. The body shaming part made it even worse. It wasn't confidence, it was immaturity. That ain't standing on business. That's just lashing out when your ego gets hit. Real strength would have been laughing it off or clapping back with some clever bars, not personal insults. Luckily, that beef died down fast, which probably means someone from King's camp pulled him aside, or maybe his parents had a serious talk with him. Either way, it showed something important. When King's emotions take over, he doesn't always think before he speaks. And the consequences? They usually hit after the fact. But before we move on, let's rewind to one of his most infamous blow-ups, the Waffle House incident from May 2022. King's meltdown at Waffle House is still one of the wildest moments in his timeline. It all started when a simple mix-up at the counter turned into a full-blown scene. The employee refused to serve him after some confusion with his order, and King lost his cool, recording himself snapping at the staff and blasting them online. The whole situation? Over pickles. Yeah, pickles. He claimed he told them no pickles, but when he opened his sandwich, there they were, soggy, sitting right on top. He swore it looked like someone poured water on the sandwich and massaged it. That small mistake turned into a viral rant, with King sounding off like he'd been personally disrespected. But behind all the drama, it showed something deeper. A young man stuck between two worlds. On one side, he's got everything: money, fame, connections, and access that most people can only dream about. On the other, he's still desperate to prove he's tough, that he's got street respect, that he's not just another privileged kid playing gangster. That inner tug of battle is real, especially for second-generation celebrities. There's even a term for it: affluenza. Not a legal excuse, but a mental struggle. It's when people born into privilege wrestle with guilt, purpose, and identity because they've never had to truly fight for survival. And for King, that battle seems to be eating away at him every step of the way. What we're seeing with King is that need to create struggle when none really exists. He keeps chasing moments to prove he's tough, real, and connected to the streets. But since he's coming from privilege, those efforts often look forced. To people who've truly lived that pain, his moves can come off as acting instead of authenticity. His relationship with his parents makes it even more complicated.
What do you got against Waffle House?
See, when they made my sandwich, I asked for, as you can hear in the video, no pickles. And it wasn't the pickles.
T.I has always been about discipline and real-life lessons, using his past legal run-ins and street history as teaching tools. But King? He's been rebelling, wanting to take the hard road himself, even if that means making mistakes his dad already warned him about. It's that classic clash: a parent who's been through it trying to protect his kid, and a son who refuses to listen because he wants to learn the hard way. In hip-hop families, that tension runs deep. The culture praises realness, survival, and street-earned respect, things T.I built from the ground up. But how do you hand that kind of authenticity to someone who's never had to fight for basic survival? It's like trying to teach hunger to someone who's always had a full plate. Still, by March 2025, there was a shift. King started to reflect, saying he and his pops were finally starting to understand each other. He even compared their bond to Ghost and Tariq from Power. Complicated, but real. That's growth right there. Learning to step back, see the bigger picture, and start fixing what fame and pride once broke. Now let's talk about how the culture reacted to all this King Harris chaos. And trust me, it's been wild. The internet split right down the middle, some people showing love and understanding, others tearing him apart without mercy. This whole saga really shows how social media can build an artist up one day and destroy them the next. When King's legal troubles hit the headlines, Twitter went up in flames. The timelines were filled with hot takes, memes, and harsh truths. A lot of users clowned him for trying too hard to look street when he was born into money. Comments like, "Kid wants to be a street dude so bad," and "Bro was born to a millionaire and still trying to be a felon," flooded the threads. It was savage. People couldn't get over the irony of someone blessed with everything chasing the same danger others fight to escape. And the memes? Brutal. Folks started comparing him to garlic knots. Yeah, garlic knots. saying things like, "Bro looking like a garlic knot," or "The garlic knot strikes again," often paired with clips of T.I looking fed up or shaking his head. The roasting was non-stop, and King became a trending topic, not for his music, but for his mistakes. But it wasn't all hate. Some voices in the mix were genuinely concerned. They weren't laughing. They were worried. They saw a young man under pressure, trying to prove himself in a world that's quick to judge and even quicker to cancel. One comment hit harder than the rest. A user wrote, "This boy been screaming for help for years and nobody around him seems to care. And now a baby on the way too? My God." That one line cut deep. It showed that some people actually see beyond the money and fame. They see a young man lost, struggling to find identity and purpose while stepping into fatherhood way too early. Over on Reddit, the discussions ran even deeper. Users labeled him a Nepo baby, someone born into privilege but still chasing chaos. They said he was trying to act like a gang member from the suburbs, calling the whole thing performative and fake. Reddit didn't hold back. They questioned his authenticity from every angle, saying he's copying a struggle he never lived through. Meanwhile, the hip-hop community's response was way more complicated. Most big artists stayed silent, not wanting to get mixed up in family drama or comment on another artist's downfall. But that silence spoke loud. If King had earned more genuine respect, somebody would have stepped up, either to defend him or guide him through the mess. Now, when it comes to his music career, the stakes are high. At just 21, King, now performing under the name Kid Cyan, has been grinding to build his own identity through his 2025 EP Be Ready, mixing trap sounds with personal storytelling. But let's be real, with all these legal issues, his image might be working against him. Those kinds of cases can eliminate opportunities for tours, features, and label support real quick. From a business angle, it's easy to see why labels and promoters might hesitate. When they look at King, they don't just see talent, they see risk. Pending court cases, probation issues, and travel limits can all mess with touring and bookings. Nobody wants to invest millions into an artist who might get grounded by the system at any moment. On top of that, the public already labels him a troubled Nepo baby, accusing him of riding his father's fame instead of earning his own lane, and that reputation makes some fans and execs back away fast. Still, King's got something that most young artists don't: a powerful safety net. Having T.I in his corner, still promoting his music and using his industry weight, gives King a cushion most rappers would take out for. That family influence might just keep him afloat while he figures things out. Plus, in today's world, controversy can sometimes be a career booster, if you know how to flip it right. When the body cam footage from his arrest dropped in August 2025, it confirmed what went down but didn't bring any new charges. Still, it disappointed a lot of people who hoped King would finally learn from his mistakes. Fans wanted growth, not more headlines. His whole stand-on-business persona cuts both ways. It draws younger fans who love the confidence, but it also backfires when his actions don't live up to the image. Trying to act street while being raised in comfort creates a tension that's hard to shake, and the audience can always tell when something doesn't feel real. The hit to King's brand has been major. He built his image around being real, being fearless, and standing on business. But when the headlines keep stacking with arrests, family fights, and social media beefs, it stops looking real and starts looking reckless. What was once seen as authenticity is now coming off like chaos, and the public can tell the difference. His streaming numbers and engagement could easily take a dip too, since brands and platforms don't like controversy that scares off sponsors. But here's the twist: fatherhood might just be his saving grace. When his son was born in November 2024, you could see a shift in King's energy. Even T.I showed full support, publicly standing by him as he tried to grow into that new role. Fans eat that up. They love redemption arcs and watching a young artist evolve. If King flips his story into something bigger, turning pain into purpose and mistakes into music, this could be the moment that defines him, not destroys him. It could turn into his comeback, his rebirth, his real origin story. And when you zoom out, this whole situation speaks volumes about hip-hop right now. Legal drama and fame still go hand in hand, especially for second-generation rappers trying to escape their parents' shadows. From Lil Wayne's son to Master P's kids, now King Harris joins that list. All of them are trying to prove they can stand on their own in a game that doesn't give passes, not even for hip-hop royalty. Being a Nepo baby in rap comes with its own baggage, and King's situation shines a big spotlight on that whole debate about privilege and authenticity in hip-hop. Fans and critics are questioning whether artists from rich backgrounds can ever truly be seen as real. That conversation could change how labels scout new talent, moving away from last names and celebrity ties and back toward artists with authentic stories and lived experience. But another major part of this story is the misinformation. King's case turned into a circus of false headlines and clickbait. YouTube channels and gossip blogs were pushing wild claims. Fake 5-year prison sentences, jail fights, all types of made-up chaos. And the worst part? People believed it. It shows how easily social media can twist a narrative and wreck someone's reputation before the truth even comes out. Then there's the family side. T.I.'s way of handling it hit deep in the culture. His mix of tough love and public support sparked real conversations about fatherhood and hip-hop, about what it means to raise kids in fame while trying to keep them grounded in reality. It's not easy guiding a son who's walking the same dangerous line you once did. Looking long-term, though, this might not be the end for King. It could be the start of something bigger. Hip-hop loves a redemption arc. And if he keeps growing, takes accountability, and puts that pain into his art, the fans will feel it. By early 2025, he and T.I. had already made peace, owning up to their mistakes, and that maturity could be exactly what fuels King's next chapter in the game. The social media buzz around King's story shows just how deeply people care about watching young Black men either rise or crash. Some of the criticism actually comes from love, from people who want to see him do better, use his platform wisely, and turn his privilege into something powerful. But others? They're just waiting to see him fall. There's a crowd that loves to watch someone who had it all throw it away chasing street respect that never needed proving in the first place. But make no mistake, King Harris's story stands for way more than just one man's legal mess. He's become a symbol of that ongoing tension in hip-hop between privilege and authenticity, between legacy and self-made respect. His situation shines a light on how much pressure second-generation artists face, constantly trying to earn validation in a culture that worships struggle. And on top of that, it shows how fast social media can twist a story, shape public opinion, and turn real lives into entertainment. The silence from some big names in hip-hop speaks volumes too. When the veterans don't speak up and the fans roast instead of support, it says something heavy about how the culture handles its own. Blogs chasing clicks over facts just add more noise, exposing how quick we are to tear down instead of build up. Still, King's only 21. He's got time to flip the script. With a new son and what looks like a better bond with his family, this could be his reset moment. If he turns the pain into purpose and starts making more honest, mature music, he could rewrite his story, not as another cautionary tale, but as a comeback rooted in growth and redemption. So now the big question, will King turn his pain into purpose and make music that truly connects with people who've walked that same rough path? Or will he keep chasing validation and repeating the same mistakes that trap so many young men in the game? Only time's gonna tell, but one thing's for sure, the whole culture's watching his every move, ready to comment, judge, and react. That's the price of fame when your last name holds the weight of hip-hop royalty. Every step, every word, every post comes with eyes on it, waiting to see if you rise or fall. What do you think about King Harris and his next move? Drop your thoughts down in the comments, hit that like button, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe for more. See you on the next one.